I was talking on online this Zen cafe right before I came here. There's about 8 winds that you probably know, and that I have shared also in Buddhist teaching. I don't remember in which scripture that is mentioned, but about these 8 winds, right? 4 positive, 4 negative. Like prosperity, then decline, then honor, disgrace, then this praise, censure, then pleasure, suffering. So in Buddhism, they are called 8 winds. So 4 are very positive. It's like some wind pushing your boat on the sea if you are actually going by ferry. But the other wind, 4 kinds are kind of pushing you back, although you need to go forward. So our true nature is not really be carried away by any of those winds. But of course, we human beings always are controlled by these 8 winds. When you get some praise, or when you get some prosperity, or respect, or some pleasure, and of course you're happy. Very natural. But even if we think we are quite solid with what we have gained through our practice, then it's easy to be moved by, carried away by these 4 other winds. Like somebody maybe censure, like scold or criticize you, or give you dishonor, maybe insult you. Moktak is too fast. Or why food is this like this? Or this food? Or what kind of teacher is like that? Very easily we can be moved or carried away, our feeling, suffering. So there is one funny story probably I shared. You heard that this Sodongpa, I think it's in Su or Tang dynasty in China. Tang. Anyway, it's not important. Don't disgrace me. So, anyway, you know this very famous scholar, and he was Zen practitioner. He has known a lot of great Zen masters. Even he used to go and check these Zen masters in the Dharma, so he nicknamed himself like a Qing scale. He weighed, this Zen master's Dharma. It was kind of arrogant in the earlier time. Of course, after he met all these great Zen masters and also his own deep practice, he became also great, actually Zen practitioner. But anyway, one time he wrote a poem expressing how inspiring and important the Buddhist teaching is to him. And one line out of his poem was like, the true nature is never carried away by 8 winds. The 8 winds I just talked about. And then he sent it through his servant, a boy, because the Zen master was living in the south of the river, Gangnam, and then he was living in Gangbuk, the north of the river. So this boy carried this poem and then passed it to the Zen master. And this Zen master read that, and then he only put 2 Chinese character comment, pang pi. It's like a farting sound, which means bullshit. And he wrote only the 2 Chinese character farting sound, and he sent him back. So the Sodongpa read it, and then he couldn't just control his temper. He was so pissed up with this being insult, feeling. So he right away went to the river, got the ferry and across the river, and then went to this Zen master and demanded him, so what's the problem with my poem? Why do you have this harsh comment? And he said, So your true nature never be moved by the 8 winds, but only because of this farting wind, you are blown to the river across and then got to here. That's a funny story. So anyway, easily our mood, like emotion, regardless our true nature, which is not supposed to move by anything, can be moved. I think that's why we practice. So that's one thing. Does anybody have any question?
What are you doing when you are moved by the wind?
Become the wind first, right? And then you realize what's going on. Of course, if your Dharma is even stronger, then you right away react. So, because everybody here practice Zen, I didn't want to give you this typical way of answer. So like Zen Musangsa, when he was very ill in his late years, that students started asking him like, how do you practice when you are ill, when you are sick? And sick time, sick practice. That means situation and myself become one. And then actually you become clear. What is this situation? What is this 8 winds? When somebody insults me, you cannot really logically think about that. Is this insult or what? Your nature will right away respond. If just anger or whatever, yeah. But the problem is somebody hold it, somebody attached to it. So as Iram S님 said, as Taebong S님 mentioned, don't attach to anything arise in your mind, because anything will arise in any kind of situation. But the point is whether you attach to it or not, right? Everybody has anger. Everybody has a feeling of this being insulted, disrespect. But the difference is someone hold and attached to it, someone doesn't. So that's yeah. So our first practice is return to this moment. That means you and the situation become one. Then things becomes clear. At that time, when you see the sky that's gray now, when you see the floor that's yellow. So always, that's why our practice keep emphasizing on, the first thing is always go back to this point. Why? It doesn't matter how you are skillful about how to deal with your emotion at the moment. If you lose this point, that's only from your this intellect, this idea. In some level, I think we can handle. But when the situation becomes really, really deeply touching your karma, difficult. There is some limit that you can deal with any kind of situation or feeling. So that's why we always emphasizing on return to this point. Then become one. Then maybe anger. But right away you realize what to do. Yeah, either, I don't know, there can be many way of techniques, like you count or whatever. So yeah, that's one way that you can deal. 8 winds. Someone who's quickly comes back to this point, and someone I think maybe your question is a little upside down.
Like, there's a person
Yeah.
who can come back quickly.
Yeah.
And the person who's holding his emotions. So which one is better?
Oh. Which kind of person are you, Slim?
I don't know, so ask him.
Oh, then find it out. Then you will get a better answer than I answer you. So his question was someone who can quickly come back to this moment, which means this point, and someone keep holding the emotion, right? Yeah. That's a very smart answer. That's why you need to find it. In Bodhidharma's teaching, human being as a motar, like, who has life and death, motar. Mortar. I mean, not the cement mortar, my pronunciation, mortar. Is conditioned, is controlled by condition, but not the true nature. So she was asking what does it mean? But actually, if you come back to this moment, the condition is your true self. Your true self is conditioned. It's exactly what, like Zen Musangsa mentioned, as sick time. His practice was sick practice. That is condition. Sometimes we are sick, sometimes we are healthy, or sometimes we feel lonely, sometimes we feel kind of desperate. That's condition. But become one. That's your true nature, actually, not originally different. So if you are not attached to it, then actually you can get. Sick time is a sick practice. If you attach it, that's a suffering. So I think probably some of you already have been experiencing it, physically and emotionally.